It is the 29th day of May 2023, and you're just in time for another edition of News Tonight. We have so much lined up for you on our bulletin tonight, but first, the highlights. Tonight, public workers hold peaceful demonstrations outside the parliament buildings to express their opposition towards the Finance Bill 2023.
Hawa watu wanatulagai. Sisi kama hasla hapa chini ndio tunabeba mzigo wa housing levy.
The High Court has issued an order suspending President William Ruto's decision to establish a commission of inquiry to investigate the deaths that occurred in Shakahola. Judge Mugambi said the Senate and the National Police are already conducting their own investigations into the Shakahola deaths. Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni signs into law one of the most stringent anti-LGBTQ laws globally. The law includes provisions for the death penalty in cases of what it calls aggravated homosexuality.
In our country, we will have our morals. We will protect our children. And we are making this law. We are making this law for ourselves. We are making this law for our children. We are making this law for the children of our children.
Now, my name is Dennis Otieno. Our sign language interpreter is Catherine Simaloi. Now, I trust you're doing well. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, on to our top story tonight. Several unions have held peaceful demonstrations to the parliament buildings to air their views on the Finance Bill 2023. Kenyans have decried overtaxation in the bill at a time when the cost of living is spiraling. Take a look.
Leaders and members drawn from various unions in the country have held peaceful processions to the parliament buildings to resist the proposals in the Finance Bill 2023. With the period to submit the views having lapsed, the 16% value-added tax VAT on petroleum products and the 3% housing levy are the proposals with the highest petitions and criticism from the public.
They are not paying 3% as the hustlers are paying. Anybody earning a salary that is beyond 80,000, their percentage is coming down. And actually for the members of parliament, they are paying 0.003%, not 3%. Hawa watu wanatulagai. Sisi kama hasla hapa chini ndio tunabeba mzigo wa housing levy na tunakataa. No to overtaxation. No to overtaxation.
Kenyans have continued to give varied views on the bill even as President William Ruto drums up support for it, saying it will, among other benefits, help solve matters of unemployment of the youth across the country. In addition, the bill proposes to increase excess duty on money transfer services by cellular phone services providers from 12% to 15%, meaning an increase in your M-Pesa or Airtel money charges.
If this bill passes in this parliament, we will join all workers, we will join hands to call a mother of all strikes. These strikes will be endless. We have the power. Sovereign belongs to the people. Kenya, where we have reached today, there is no room for dictatorship. What we are seeing in your government currently is sending fevers along everybody in this country. Stop dictating, consult with people, calm down and listen to the people.
Elsewhere, it has proposed that 15% of payments made to digital content creators will be withheld. Taxpayers who make these payments will be obligated to withhold the applicable tax amount. As the dynamics of content creation continue to evolve, digital content that provides entertainment, social engagement, literary works, artistic creations, or educational material in electronic form will be monetized.
And we are challenging the government, instead of thinking about the 3%, give us a pay rise of 50%. Yes. Right? Yes.
The Committee on Finance and National Planning is set to retreat beginning Wednesday to consider the views of the public before it tables its report in Parliament for debate. Flora Limuki, TV47.
Meanwhile, the issue of the high cost of living in Kenya has become a prominent topic of discussion among Kenyans. Many Kenyans are experiencing concerns about, or rather are expressing concerns about the inflation of essential commodities, which has significantly contributed to the rising expenses. Our reporter Nicholas Mbai interviewed ordinary Kenyans from various walks of life in Machakos County to shed light on the severe financial strain they are experiencing, with some individuals being forced to limit their meals to just one per day.
As the national government currently considers the adoption of the Financial Bill 2023 pending approval by the National Assembly, ordinary Kenyans keep lamenting about the current high cost of living. This even as the bill is expected to increase taxes for many Kenyans, further burdening them considering the ongoing economic crisis.
Serikali ni kama inatuchezea. Kama hii mambo ya sukari kila wakati imepanda, unga tuliambiwa ni 150, saa hii inaelekea 250. Tujui shida ni nini na serikali hii ina mpango gani kwa mwenye nchi? Sababu tunateseka sana kwa sababu tunatafuta pesa, ile pesa unanunua chakula yote na haitoshei.
Similarly to other towns in Kenya, everybody life in Machakos continues, with people from different parts of the country striving to make ends meet. However, there is an underlying issue affecting the town's residents who, like many Kenyans, have to grapple with escalating commodity prices and excessive taxation. Some even unable to meet their basic needs of food, water and shelter.
Asitujui mali tunaelekea. Unakuja unanunua mizigo, unakuja kama ni mahindi unauziwa moja 25 ama 65. Unaweka kwa kibanda, ukisema uiuze 375, ukinunua 365, hiyo pesa inakataa kutoka.
Hii gharama imepanda, hata chakula ni shida. Itabidi kama ni kule usiku pekee na uamke ukatafute, hata chai asubuhi ni shida kupata.
In the heart of the town, we encounter a border operator whose income has significantly decreased due to the high number of operators vying for the limited customers, as well as the lack of employment opportunities.
Sasa, hii maisha ya bodaboda, yes, umejiajiri we mwenyewe. For example, ukifanya kazi, ikifika saa 2:30 usiku, unapata 800. Kwa hiyo 800 ukipata mafuta ya pikipiki imekunywa ni 300 ama 250 at least. Sasa hapo ukitoa 300 kwa 800 umebaki na 500. Kuna mtoto anaenda shule kila siku, kuna means of transport mpaka shule. Kwenda shule ni 50 bob. Kwenda na kurudi hiyo ikuje 50 bob. Ama saa nyingine urauko wewe muende utumie mafuta ya 20 bob ama 30 bob. Sasa hapo kuna hiyo minus. Haya, mkate saa hii ni 70 bob na maziwa ni 60. Hiyo ni lazima mtoto akunywe chai asubuhi, apate mkate kwa sababu saa hii atataka kula kitu. Haya, ukitoka hapo kuna vitu requirements zinatakikana shule kama pesa ya mtihani, kuna tuition tuseme ya 30 bob ama nini, na pia chakula ya lunch time inalipo hapo shule, ile ilikuwa inaitwa feeding a child akiwa shule. Sasa wewe unapata kuna 300 pia imetoka hapo, kwa hiyo 450 iko hapo. Na mama kwa nyumba 100 umemwachia 100 ya boga nini hivyo. Sasa ukibakia na ile 150 na mimi sitaenda kula lunch. Saa hii kidheri hata imepanda ni 70 bob saa hii. Utoe hiyo 150 kwa 70 bob utabaki na kitu ngapi? 80. Sasa hiyo ndio itabaki ya kulipa nyumba.
A few meters away, a mother who sells phone covers shares her plight.
Mali maisha imefika, mimi niko na mtoto mdogo, mimi ni mzazi wa mtoto mdogo, mtoto mwenye anakunywa uji. But mali maisha imefika sasa hii inabidi nampatia uji bila sukari. Hata kale kaskari kadogo kakuweka ikue tu na ile taste. Hakuna juu ya maisha mali imefika. Sasa hata nashangaa sasa serikali, huyo mtoto mdogo hata ajui ni serikali ama ni nini. Analia anataka kukunywa at least kitu sweet.
She used to have a thriving business, but the increased taxation has made her situation dire. Before the day ends, she will need to settle various bills, and there is also the risk of the county police forcing her and other traders to vacate the area.
Okay, kama sai hizi cover car last year tukiletewa tukienda kuchukua kwa store tulikuwa tuna at least zile za tulikuwa tunauzwa zingine na 100. Sasa hizo za 100 zimepanda mpaka 200. Na customer hata huwezi muuzia kutoka 200 kwenda na juu, analia kabisa. Sasa unapata kazi imekuwa chini kabisa.
We ventured into Marikiti Market in Machakos town, known for its significance since the colonial era. However, the business environment here is deteriorating rapidly. An elderly businesswoman who has operated in this market for the past 20 years is now struggling to provide for her dependents.
Na maisha imepanda sana, na sijui hata tutafanya nini. Hata nikiuza hizi matunda nauza hapa, niende dukani nikanunue unga imepanda sana. Hata sijui tutafanya nini, kwa sababu tuko na watoto wanatuangalia nyumbani. Tukija huku sokoni wanatuangalia nini, turudi nyumbani na unga ipatikani, kwa sababu hizi vitu tunauza nini, watu wanaogopa tunawauzia, na pengine watu wengi wanauliza na hawana pesa. Unaona mtu anataka kitu hapa, matunda hapa anunue, na ana pesa kwa mfuko, kwa sababu ya maisha. Tunafinyika sana na maisha, hata hatujui tutaenda wapi.
The situation has become so dire that even the market service providers who offer transportation services to customer purchasing codes can go an entire day without a single customer. As it is already 2 p.m., we encountered these 3 women who for the entire day have not received any single client since morning.
Sasa kama watu wa kubeba mizigo kuanzia asubuhi na ine masaa ya saa 8 tunjabeba kitu, tunjabebea watu mizigo, na tuko na watoto wanatutegemea, wanataka mabasi, wanataka chakula. Sasa kama serikali account kama Wavinya tutabutiwe kazi, hata kani ya kupakia, hata kani ya kubakia masoko, kubakia kubakia spio. Kama inawezekana tutabutiwa kazi.
As we are about to leave the market, we came across a distraught trader who burst into tears when asked about the current economic crisis.
Tuko kwa Kenya lakini hatujui kule tunaenda. Ndio twajua kule tumetoka, lakini kule tunaenda ni mbali zaidi kuliko kule tumetoka. Lakini hatujui kutaendaji. Saa zingine mtu anakosa kitu hata moja ya kuuza, hakika kwa mawe, anakaa hapo mpaka jioni anaenda nyumbani kulala. Na najua hakika Mungu asipoingilia maisha ya watu wa Kenya, taabu imeingia kabisa. Hata hatujui kule tunaenda. Mungu tu atuhurumie kama ni yeye alihurumia wana wa Israeli. Hakika atazame taifa letu la Kenya. Atuhurumie hasa ule mwananchi wa kawaida, kwa maana ana mbele wala nyuma. Na ana watoto wanahitaji chakula, ambao hawezi wakaambiwa hakuna chakula, ambao hawezi akaambiwa leo nimekosa chakula. Wenda ikawa wale wako na roho ngumu, saa zingine mzazi akienda nyumbani akikosa chakula, wenda ikawa mtoto akianza kulia anaanza kumtandika kwa maana ya hasira ya kukosa chochote, kwa maana shida imeingia. Shida imeingia, imepisha oti katika taifa kama ni shida imeingia.
Many are now calling on the current administration to intervene and address this pressing issue.
Tunataka kama inawezekana bei ya chakula tushukishe bei ya chakula, kwa sababu sisi kama wananchi tunaumia sana. Kwa sababu tukija huku sokoni tuuze kama vile nauza matunda, niuze matunda niingie kwa duka ninunue chakula, siwezi kuafford bei ya chakula. Narudi nyumbani na watoto wanaenda kulala njaa kwa sababu sianunua chakula ya kutosha.
It is the sad tale of the current situation in the country. Just Marikiti Market in Machakos is an example of what is taking place in many parts of the country, with our mothers and market traders having nothing to tell and nothing to take home at the end of the day. Nicholas Mbai reporting for TV47, Machakos County.
Well, thank you, Nicholas Mbai, for that report. Now, from matters the high cost of living to the corridors of justice, where ex-Mungiki leader Mainan Jenga was on Monday afternoon released on a bond of 100,000 shillings with a surety of similar amount after being charged with 7 counts of being a member and a leader of the outlawed Mungiki gang, among others, as Chichi Josephine now tells us.
Appearing before Nakuru Principal Magistrate Kipkirui Kibelion at the Nakuru Law Court on Monday morning, ex-Mungiki leader Mainan Jenga denied all the charges against him.
Guilty or not guilty? No.
According to the charge sheet, Jenga was said to have been identified as a member of the gang alongside 11 other suspects on dates between May 12 and 18, 2023 in Nakuru North Sub-County.
Jointly with others not before court, attended a meeting whose purpose was for encouraging support of an organized criminal group to wake Mungiki on furthering its activities. Guilty or not guilty?
The prosecution, however, withdrew some of the charges, namely possession of a firearm make pistol Tokarev without a firearm certificate, possession of 3 rounds of ammunition without a firearm certificate, possession of imitation firearm, namely a toy pistol, on May 12 in Wanyororo, possession of 96 rolls of cannabis sativa valued at 4,800 shillings.
Prosecutor?
Jenga was also charged with engaging in organized crime and planning criminal activities at his house in Wanyororo, Nakuru County on May 12, 2023. He is also alleged to have been found with records likely to be useful to a person preparing to commit serious crime involving the Mungiki gang.
On the third count, you are charged with engaging in organized criminal activity under Section 3 or as read in Section 4. Section 1 of the Prevention of Organized Crimes Act.
Jenga's lawyer Martha Karua applied for the court to release him on reasonable bond terms or in alternative a free bond, a request that was granted by the court as Jenga was later released on a bond of 100,000 shillings with a surety of a similar amount or an alternative bail of 50,000 shillings.
The 9th accused submitted to a bond of 100,000 shillings or an alternative cash bail of 50,000 as the other co-accused.
However, upon his release, Jenga was barred from making any public utterances that are related to the case he faces.
The accused is restrained from making statements either through press or in public rallies which make any direct reference to this case.
Karua also applied for the court to bar any politician from making any utterances that may be prejudicial to Jenga following earlier remarks made on Sunday by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua concerning Mainan Jenga.
So we are before you, seeking for your mercy, and that this court does eject any person, any organ, any individual, and resist from making such comments that are derogatory and prejudicial to our client's case.
Other leaders who accompanied Jenga were former presidential candidate George Wajakoya, former CS for Energy Eugene Mwalwa, former Murang'a Governor Mwangi Weria, and former Jubilee Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni. The case will be mentioned on June 20th for pre-trial. Chichi Josephine, TV47.
We're coming back here now.
Well, thank you, Chichi Josephine, for that report. Now, moving on, High Court Judge Lawrence Mugambi has issued an order suspending President William Ruto's decision to establish a commission of inquiry to investigate the deaths that occurred in Shakahola. Judge Mugambi stated that it will not be in the public interest for the commission to commence its proceedings, while the Senate and the National Police are already conducting their investigations into the Shakahola deaths. Take a look.
While suspending the commission, High Court Judge Lawrence Mugambi also highlighted that all bodies investigating the Shakahola deaths are utilizing public resources, and allowing the Commission of Inquiry to proceed might create legal disputes and encroach on the mandates of other constitutional institutions. Last week, Judge Mugambi had directed all parties to maintain the status quo until the court ruling, which has now granted a conservatory order halting the commission from conducting its sessions. The Azimio coalition had filed the case, accusing President William Ruto of undermining the authority of the Senate, which had already established an ad hoc committee led by Senator Danson Mungatana to investigate the matter. The coalition argued that the establishment of the commission encroached on the authority of the National Intelligence Service, NIS, to handle security intelligence, and contended that only Parliament has the power to establish subordinate courts or independent tribunals through an Act of Parliament. The commission, led by the Court of Appeal Judge Jesse Lesit, includes members such as Lady Justice Mary Kasango, Eric Gumbo, Bishop Catherine Mutua, Jonathan Londboy, Frank Njenga, Wanyama Musiambu, and Albert Musasia. President Ruto had appointed the Commission of Inquiry to investigate the deaths of over 240 individuals who are believed to have starved themselves early in the month. Additionally, Ruto had also appointed a task force to review the regulations governing religious organizations, as announced by his spokesperson Hussein Mohammed.
Now, on the same breath, Chief Government Pathologist Dr. Johansen Oduor has conducted autopsies on 34 bodies Monday, bringing the number of post-mortems conducted on bodies of the Shakahola catastrophe to 79 since the exercise resumed last week. As our reporter Sostin Wanji narrates, Oduor says that 32 of the bodies were severely decomposed, while 2 of them were moderately decomposed.
The Chief Government Pathologist Dr. Johansen Oduor made this announcement while speaking at the Malindi Sub-County Hospital Funeral Home on Monday. He stated that his team has conducted autopsies on 34 bodies, bringing the total number to 79 since they resumed the process last week. Dr. Oduor further explained that out of the 34 bodies, 22 were adults and 12 were children. Among them, 21 were females, 10 were males, and the gender of 3 bodies could not be determined.
34 postmortems, 21 of them were female, while 10 were males. 3 of these we are unable to determine the sex and gender, reason being that they were badly decomposed. As for the age, 22 of them were adults, while 12 were children. So we found that most of them were severely decomposed, being that 32 of them were severely decomposed, while 2 of them were moderately decomposed. As per the cause of death, being that there were many of them we found that were very badly decomposed, we are unable to get the cause of death in 22 of them, while 12 of them we saw features which look like of starvation.
Regarding the cause of death, the team was unable to determine the causes for 22 bodies due to decomposition. Additionally, 12 bodies showed signs of starvation, prompting the team to collect samples for further testing. These samples will be utilized by the government chemist for DNA purposes to aid in the identification process.
We took samples as usual for further analysis of DNA because many of them were unidentifiable. So we took samples which the government chemists will go and do DNA process on so that now they can be able to be identified.
Last week, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki suspended the exhumation process to allow for the completion of the post-mortem examinations. Wanji Sostin, TV47, Bungoma.
Anti-Gay Bill, the United States has taken action by revoking the visas of Anita Among, the Speaker of Parliament in Uganda. This is after Speaker Among disclosed that President Yoweri Museveni had signed the controversial Anti-Homosexuality Act of 2023. Ronnie Regan with more.
The new Ugandan anti-gay law imposes more severe penalties and fines for individuals who finance or promote homosexuality in Uganda. During a press conference in Kampala, Ugandan lawmaker Asman Basalirwa stated that Anita Among is the first victim of potential sanctions resulting from the law.
In our country, we will have our morals, we will protect our children, and we are making this law, for ourselves, we are making this law for our children, we are making this law for the children of our children.
Despite pressure from the United States and the donor community, including threats to withdraw funding, particularly in the health sector, Uganda has remained resistant.
This country will stand firm. And once it passed, I can tell you, Madam Speaker, we are going to reinforce the law enforcement officers to make sure that homosexuals have no space in Uganda.
The parliament passed the bill on March 22nd this year and forwarded it to the president for approval. However, Museveni returned the bill to the House a few days later, declining to sign it. He argued that the legislation should not criminalize individuals for having a homosexual orientation, but should instead target those who engage in and promote homosexuality.
In our country, we will have our morals, we will protect our children.
Museveni also expressed a desire for the bill to include provisions for rehabilitating individuals who were previously involved in homosexual acts. However, he emphasized that his proposal was not binding and could be addressed at a later time. In a subsequent vote earlier this month, Parliament approved the bill with amendments to 5 clauses in line with Museveni's suggestions. The revised version of the bill is the one that the president has now signed into law. The legislation imposes the death penalty for certain same-sex acts and a 20-year prison sentence for promoting homosexuality. A statement read by Basalirwa quoted an email that informed Anita Among of her visa revocation. This action was taken by the U.S. government based on information that emerged after her last visa issuance. As of the time of this report, the U.S. mission in Uganda was unavailable for comment on these developments. Ronnie Reagan, TV 47.
Well, thank you, Ronnie Reagan, for that report. Now, moving on. One suspect was arraigned at Kehancha Law Court for incitement and violence over the Isebania chaos witnessed late last week. Peter Hamisi Chacha is alleged to have incited members of the public to cause violence and chaos that rocked Isebania town for the entire part of last week. This even as Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki issues a stern warning to the perpetrators of the chaos, saying the government will not stand for it.
Appearing before Principal Magistrate at Kehancha Law Courts, the suspect, Peter Hamisi Chacha, is alleged to have incited members of the public to cause violence and chaos that rocked Isebania town for the better part of last week. The magistrate released the suspect on 100,000 shillings bond and a surety of the same amount, even as his co-accused, Jay Ngimeri, was not produced before the courts as police lacked enough evidence to link him to the violence.
On 22nd May 2023, at Isebania Township, in Kuria West Sub-County, within Migori County, without lawful excuse, we utter the following words, and I quote: Bwana County Commander, ukitoka hapa, utoke na hao police officer wote. Kama sio hivyo, demonstration itaendelea na niko tayari na kiberiti, mafuta ya kuwakisha moto. End of the quote. An act which was calculated to lead to the destruction of Isebania police station.
This even as Interior CS Professor Kithure Kindiki voices concerns over growing insecurity in many parts of the country. Kindiki, who referred to incidences such as the Isebania one as unacceptable, issued a stern warning to those who are breaking the law, saying their days are numbered.
Last week, criminals who are said to have been exercising a grievance against the police in Esebania, storm a police station, break into the armory, try to free people in lawful custody. Your Excellency, I'm on the way there to Esebania. No country worth its salt, can tolerate that kind of behavior. It doesn't matter what the grievances are.
Zainab Mohammed, T47.
Now, on that note, we are due a short break, but don't...
4 minutes from the highway. This is a property whereby once you purchase it, you preserve your wealth, you build your wealth, you create your investment, create wealth for your generations. Don't miss this lifetime opportunity. Call this number right now, 0790 300 300. Optiven, inspiring possibilities. 23 years of impacting communities.
Welcome to the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center, the premier events venue. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed to meet all your needs, from large-scale conferences to intimate meetings and everything in between. Located in the heart of Thika, the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center offers stunning views of the city skyline and is easily accessible from all major transportation hubs. Our facility features ample parking, free Wi-Fi, advanced audiovisual equipment, and our technical team is always on hand to ensure your event runs smoothly and seamlessly. Don't take our word for it. Make your next event unforgettable at the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center. Contact us today for bookings and reservations. Email multimedia@mku.ac.ke or call us on 0708 212204 or 0727 441733 or 0721 438 629 to learn more about our services and book your event.
Sasa sote tuko sawa, nchi moja yenye usawa, tunasonga mbele pamoja. Nobody's left behind. One love, one people, sustainable health for everyone. NHIF inafaidi jamii, strong as one. Strong as one. Usawa ni umoja, usawa ni upendo, afya bora bila ubaguzi. UHC Supercover. Usawa ni umoja, usawa ni upendo, afya bora bila ubaguzi. UHC Supercover na NHIF.
Msikilizaji, hatimaye stesheni yenye watangazaji wa haiba kuu, Captain Emmanuel Masumbe aka Mr. Mbappe himself, imewasili nchini Kenya. Ali Hassan Kauleni, tunavuma.
Mkamburi Chigogo,
ni Manucho the young bowler,
Dr. Funike, Lizmut Beatrice Maganga,
kwa kishindo
Mama Taifa Eva Mwalili,
naitwa Baruk Mwalimu.
Bwana mimi naitwa Billy Mio Kipenda, kamanda wa hizi shuli.
Na bado
Dio Presenter 001,
the big bad Papa Nasty. Hii imeenda ni ya kutikisa. Jina langu ni Fred Arocho, Lucky Periano,
Edwin Smio, Collins Luswet.
Hii imeenda.
Wewe uchunge bwana, kitu nzito itamaliza wewe.
Radio 47. Haba ndipo.
As you enter a new phase of life, you may seem lost until you discover the passion within.
I'm happy that MKU decided to open a branch in Malindi to make work easier for those parents who have never been away from their kids or children.
That's all the equipment that I need to study and all the facilities that I need.
Simply one of the most beautiful and ultra-modern structure.
Join us at Mount Kenya University and Equip Africa Institute Malindi Odell Center to build your future. Intake in April for electronic learning and May for distance learning. Mount Kenya University.
Unlocking infinite possibilities.
Karibuni.
Mount Kenya.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's continue in Nakuru County, where protests erupted this evening in Naivasha CBD as furious PSV drivers and members of the public demanded the immediate release of one of their own who remains in police custody. Even after a fine was paid for his release at Tigoni Court. Willie Dennis Njiru with more.
Paul Mwaniki Kamau, an employee of Kasese Public Service, was involved in a fatal accident that resulted in the death of a pedestrian.
Tarehe 18 akapelekwa kotini ya Remuru. Akafungwa miaka 3 ama faini ya shilingi 1300. Hiyo pesa tulishanga siku ya Jumamosi na ikatosha.
Na swali ninalouliza, huyo kijana alifanya accident mwaka jana mwezi wa 8 tarehe 3. Amekuwa akifanya na hiyo gari hapa kwa hii kampuni ya Kasese. Hata hiyo siku alipokuwa anapelekwa Tigoni alikuwa na gari, ilikuwa hapa, akasema hataki kazi.
Magistrate pale Kiambu anasema anataka license ya huyo driver iproducewe kotini ili awachiliwe. Naye mdosi mwenye Kasese mwenye alikuwa amemwandika ameficha hiyo license.
Following the incident, the police required his employer to produce him for conviction. He was subsequently fined 300,000 shillings or faced a 3-year custodial sentence.
Leo hii tukaendea kijana wetu na tukalipa fine. Inasemekana hawezi kuachiliwa bila license yake kupatikana kotini. Kotini hiyo license yake iko na ule alikuwa amemuajiri.
Tumelipa kwa benki ya serikali na tukalipa fine, alafu tukaenda mpaka Kiambu. Kijana kufika pale tunaambiwa ya kwamba license lazima ikuwe produce kwa sababu alipofungwa ilikuwa revoked, ya kwamba haiwezi fanya kazi kwa hiyo muda ambayo atakuwa kwa jela.
Despite the public collectively raising the required amount for his release, he has not been set free as expected.
Koti pale Kiambu haijaenda kwa mwachilie kijana mwenzetu. Wanasema kwamba huyo kijana license yake haipatikani.
Tumegundua kwamba kijana amesema ya kwamba mwajiri wake ndiye yeye alimuitisha license alipokuwa anampeleka Tigoni. So amesema yeye siye mwenye akona license.
The court denied his release on license demand, which triggered the angry public to take to the streets in protest. However, their demonstrations was met with police intervention.
Nani ameandamana? Hakuna mtu ameandamana. Tumesema tunataka kijana mara moja.
As of now, Mwaniki is still in custody and local residents are calling for his speedy release. The situation remains tense in Naivasha CBD with ongoing demands for justice and the release of their fellow member.
Tunataka kuambia Kithure Kindiki, please follow up about Naivasha. Kuna mambo ambayo inaendelea na sio ya kawaida. Tunataka kujua huyu mtu ni nani katika national government na katika county government.
Reporting for TV 47 from Naivasha in Nakuru County, I'm Willie Dennis Njiru.
Well, thank you, Willie Dennis Njiru, for that report. Now, elsewhere, a teacher and a student from Lithane Boys School have been detained at the Kericho police station on suspicion of intentionally setting fire to a dormitory that accommodated up to 95 students. The incident took place this morning, adding to the recent unrest at the school. Just 2 weeks ago, students at the school had gone on strike, citing grievances over the lack of entertainment time provided to them. Now, I'm being informed that story is being prepared. It will be with us in a few minutes from now. But moving on, President William Ruto has proposed the creation of an alternative financial method that will enable all African countries to do business using the local currency instead of the dollar. Ruto lamented that the continuing dollar crisis in the world has affected businessmen who are forced to convert their currencies into dollars to do business despite their geographical closeness. Now, speaking during the African Private Sector Dialogue and the 3rd Kenya International Investment Conference, President William Ruto proposed the establishment of a common payment and settlement system that will enable all African countries to trade using the local currency instead of using the dollar.
Let me say this. I think it is important for the trade ministers who are here We are all struggling, and all our businessmen are struggling, and our traders are struggling to make payments for goods and services from one country to another because of differences in currencies. And in the middle of all this, we are all subjected to a dollar environment. Kenyans want to pay for Tanzanian goods in dollars. Tanzania wants to pay for DRC goods in dollars. Egypt wants to pay. Why are we bringing dollars in the middle of our trade? This is the question we should be asking ourselves. And in the process, all our business people are stranded. Egypt cannot pay for our tea because they are looking for dollars. We cannot pay for their sugar because we are also looking for dollars. You know? And this is I had a conversation with President Orama of the Afri-Exim Bank, and they have built a mechanism where all our traders can trade in the local currency, and we leave it to the Africa-Exim Bank to settle all the payments in local currency. We do not have to look for dollars. Our businessmen, our business people, our traders will concentrate on moving goods and services and leave the arduous task of currencies to Afri-Exim Bank.
Now, let's get back to a story I had posed to you a little bit earlier, where a teacher and a student from Lithane Boys School have been detained at the Kericho police station on suspicion of intentionally setting ablaze a dormitory that accommodated up to 95 students. The incident took place this morning, adding to the recent unrest at the school. Now, just 2 weeks ago, students at the school had gone on strike, citing grievances over the lack of entertainment time provided to them.
Learning activities at Lithane Boys were disrupted today due to a fire that broke out in the school, resulting in the destruction of a dormitory and the belongings of 95 students.
The dormitory was fully razed down, where property, personal belongings of 95 of our students was affected. It was completely burned down, and the board has sat down this morning, and we are assuring our parents of Lithane Boys that everything is under control.
According to Kericho County Director of Education, Julius Ngoneshi, one student and a teacher are currently detained at Kericho Police Station to assist with the ongoing investigation into the incident.
They were able to identify one student who is a key suspect, and as we speak now, he has been arrested. He is assisting the police with the investigation. And he adversely mentioned a teacher who also has been taken up for interrogation.
Concerned parents who arrived at the school are worried about the safety of their children and are urging the school administration to expedite the investigation into the numerous cases of indiscipline that have been reported in the recent past.
Last week, there was some teacher which was saying, principal, they have imposed us to mark three exams, and you don't want to mark those 3 exams. They are very lazy. They are killing this school. And they are their work.
Ni mzuri wahusishwe wasasi, waitwe mkutano, wakae chini ndio tusuluhishe, sababu hii kitu hata ile ya juzi haicha suluhishwa na hatujaambiwa nini ilitendeka kabisa, ndio hiyo strike ikafanyika.
Furthermore, the parents have requested the school management to establish a dedicated complaint unit for students to voice their concerns in order to prevent such incidents.
Tungekuwa na ofisi ndogo ya kusuluhisha mambo ya watoto. Ungekuwa na ofisi ndogo yenye imetengwa, kama kuna watoto wako na shida wanaweza kujua mapema hata kabla hii itatokea.
It is worth noting that the fire incident occurred just 2 weeks after students went on rampage, adding to the urgency of addressing disciplinary issues at the school. Reporting for TV47, I'm Violet Auma.
Now it is time to take a look at the sports news. The men's national football team, Harambe Stars head coach Engin Firat, has named a 30-man provisional squad that will take part in the 4 nations friendly matches in Mauritius from 11th to 18th June this year. Firat's squad has a mixture of international-based players as well as local-based players, while players like Kevin Otiala, Charles Ouma, Moses Shuma and Simon Masaka earned their debut into the national football team. Marvin Abuire, Robinson Kamura and Boniface Omondi were also recalled into Harambe Stars squad. The team is expected to enter camp on 5th June this year before traveling to Mauritius on June 10th, where they will play against the host nation, Djibouti and Pakistan. And from matters football to golf, where Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba has pledged to demystify golf as a sport in the country by constructing public golf grounds and introducing golf in the Kenyan curriculum, which will be taught in schools. CS Namwamba was speaking while flagging off the men's national senior golf team that is set to travel to Ethiopia for the Region 4 Golf Championship slated for 5th to 11th June this year, where he stated that the Kenya Golf Union is a key proponent of the bottom-up model in sports by championing for developing grassroots talent. According to Kenya Golf Union Chairman Chola, the union has already signed a memorandum of understanding with the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, KICD, to introduce golf as a sport in schools in the country. At the same time, the National Junior Golf Foundation ladies team returned the flag presented to them when they traveled to Uganda, where they finished 3rd and presented the accolade to CS Namwamba.
Our CECs responsible for sports from across our counties are here with us to witness this. Just to confirm to you that we are very keen to develop the growth of sport